Hey y'all, it's Mrs. Lees here. I wanted to quickly take you through our next thing that we need to learn about in regards to angle pairs. So we've got two straight lines here. You can see these two lines right here. We can call them line A and line B if we wanted. These two lines are parallel. What is happening with these two lines is they are being cut by this straight line here. We can call it line L. And what that line is called is it's called a transversal. By slicing right down the middle of these two parallel lines, it creates some very unique angle relationships, and that's what you're going to learn about today. So the first relationship I want to talk quickly about are what are called corresponding angles. Now, corresponding angles are angles that, if you notice, I've got 4 up at the top and 4 at the bottom. They're angles that if I were to pick up this set of angles right here and set it down on top of these angles, the corresponding angles are the ones that are sitting on top of each other now. So in other words, they're in the same place at the top as they are at the bottom. So if I look here, angle 1 would correspond with, when I picked it up and set it down, angle 5. Angle 2 would correspond with angle 6. Angle 3 would correspond with angle 7. And angle 4 would correspond with angle 8. Really important. The cool thing about these corresponding angle pairs is that if they are corresponding angles, they are congruent, meaning equal or the same. If angle 1 measures 110 degrees, that means angle 5 is also 110 degrees. So take a moment, pause this video, and get that important information written down. Next angle pair we've got are what we call alternate interior angles. Now, interior, if you know, versus exterior. Interior means inside, exterior means outside. Alternate means opposite. Inside is referring to inside of the two parallel lines. You can see I've got these 4 angles, 3, 4, 5, and 6, that are inside the parallel lines. Alternate means opposite side, not just on the other side, but also opposite side, top and down, or up and down. So look in here, angle 3 and angle 6 are on the opposite side, both direction-wise and up and down, of the transversal. So they would be considered alternate interior angles. The same thing would apply with angle 4 and 5. Another awesome part about this is if you know the measure of angle 3, it's also equal to the measure of angle 6. They have the same exact measurement. So pause this video one more time, get this information written down. Next, we've got what are called vertical angles, or angles that are vertically opposite. These are angles that share the same point, but they do not share the same side, so they cannot be next to each other. 1 and 2 would not be vertical angles because they share the same side. However, if you look closely, angle 2 and angle 3 are connected right here, but they're only connected by that vertex. They don't share the same side. Those are considered vertical angles, almost like they're up and down from each other, but not really because they're kind of sitting on their sides. Same thing would apply to angles 1 and 4, 5 and 8, as well as 6 and 7. Vertical angles, again, just like the other 2 angle pairs we talked about, are congruent. So if you know the measure of one angle, you know the measure of its vertically opposite angle. Pause this video, get this important information written down. The last set of angles I want to go over, this is something you probably learned already in 7th grade. However, we're touching on it again in 8th grade because it applies with this unit. We have what are called supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are angles whose sum, or when I add them up, I get 180 degrees. The cool thing is these angles will form a straight line if I put them together. So looking at this right here, I can clearly see angles 1 and 2 form this straight line right here. However, angles 1 and 3, these two, also would form a straight line because they're sitting on that transversal. Angles 5 and 6, but then also 6 and 8. Not limited to what you see here. There are more pairs of supplementary angles. However, this is the key here. Supplementary angles add up to 180. So if you knew that this angle measure was 120, you knew that also angle 2 had to be 60 because 120 plus 60 would give me 180. Thinking along those same lines, if you know that 1 is 120, you can also figure out 3 because 120 plus 60 gives me this straight line. So how does all this come into play with this unit? Well, the cool thing is all 8 of these angles are going to be a measure of one of 2 different numbers. If you can figure one of them out, you can easily come up with the other 8 based on these rules that we just learned. So let's go ahead and pretend that angle 7 measures, let's say 70 degrees. We should be able to look and know, hey, if this is 70 degrees right here, what are the other ones? Well, thinking about corresponding angles, if I pick this up and set it down on top of here, what angle would be matching up with angle 7? Yep, right here, angle 3. So I know that angle 3 has to be 70 degrees. Now, if I think about what I learned with vertical angles, if I know that this is angle 7 is 70 degrees, opposite of angle 6, or opposite of angle 7 is angle 6. They touch at the vertex. Vertical angles are congruent. Now, what I also notice, hey, look, these two are the same. You know why? They are alternate interior angles. That means that 5 and 4, if I can figure out what those are going to be the same. Now look up here. We need to find the corresponding angle is 6. Yep, right up here. 70 degrees. These 4 angles right here are all the same. That means the remaining 4 are also going to be the same for the same reasons. So how do I find the missing one? Well, look right here. Starting back at angle 7. If it's 70 degrees and I put it next to angle 8, what do I form? Yep, I form a straight line. Straight line measures 180. So 180 minus 70, yep, gives me 110. So that means that this angle right here has to be 110. Now, what angle corresponds with angle 8? Yep, right up here, angle 4 has to be 110. What angle's vertical angle 8? Angle 5, yep, you're right, 110. What angle corresponds with angle 5? Yep, 110. That's how this all this vocabulary comes into play. So now that you've got the basics, I want you to test what you've learned so far. Take your notes, use these, go in and complete the new Math Excel assignment that has been assigned to you. Good luck. Hopefully you took good notes because it will definitely help you.